Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Friends and Family Month. Sigh.
Maybe the last Friends and Family Month.
Friends and Frenemies.
The Frenemy Month.
Welcome to Screenplay Rewind, where we lose control of the movie selections. And Twilight is what happens.
Yeah. Friends don't let Friends Twilight alone.
I find Friends and Family Month kind of fascinating, Ron.
I did until this year.
How's it been going, man? How's it been going?
It's been going. It's
been 1 week since you looked at me.
Kids had spring break and then they went back to school and I tore all the bathrooms apart in my house and repainted them. It was awful.
Yeah, painting is just the fucking worst, isn't it?
You don't realize how much shit you have around until you have to mask it off. Like how much crown molding you have, how many baseboards you have.
It's almost as tedious as spending 2 hours watching a Twilight movie. Ron just like fucking staring at the paint dry, like staring at Kristen Stewart's stupid fucking expressions. Fuck, God damn it.
I cannot wait.
Oh man,
my favorite part of Twilight is gonna be listening to Jeff talk about Twilight.
I have words.
What? No.
I have words. I also just like to point out, did you know Twilight was optioned for a film before the book even came out?
That makes sense. That sounds about it. That was that young adult scramble after Harry Potter was successful.
Shit, dude. I gotta go back in time and just like start churning out whatever bullshit I can possibly think of, because if it was geared towards the right audience, it was not only greenlit into a novel, it was greenlit immediately into a 4-film series, like just instantly.
That happened with The Martian too, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, fun fact.
I get that with The Martian though, because The Martian has like writing.
What?
It has, characters.
The basics of a story.
It has a plot.
Hey, fun fact, Jeff. Twilight came out the same year as Iron Man.
Yeah, Twilight came out in 2008, which means it is now 16 years old, so Edward just got interested in watching it.
Not a Cthulhu to be found.
See, if I was present for the filming of this movie, I would also want to nuke myself at the bottom of the ocean fighting Cthulhu. Holy fuck. The fact that anyone walked away with this movie with a career, like fucking Pattinson had to go underground to do indie film for like 20 years to salvage his career. It's kind of crazy.
We'll talk about it when getting into the casting, but
woo boy,
I'm pretty sure everything that I have heard and read that this is what launched Anna Kendrick into movies, and she's the only real survivor.
Man.
Because, like you said, Pattinson had to go underground. Kristen Stewart was basically the death knell for any movie. Yeah.
He went underground, she went underwater. Fuck Cthulhu. Died in a nuclear explosion.
Oh, Jeff has all that rage and nowhere for it to go.
No, see, that's the thing. There was rage. There were a few moments in this movie I burst out laughing. Like, I have a couple of anecdotes.
I almost want you to hand Aurora a microphone and have her on as a guest, because I wish I had watched this with you.
I laughed so hard at one point because I happened to, so we had had a brief comment back and forth, like when you're watching a movie and you started half of a conversation, you have to rewind a little bit to catch what you missed.
I
happened to pause at the exact second that Edward says, "I've been watching you sleep." and it was just like, "I've been watching you sleep." And that was the exact second the dialogue had paused before I, rewound it 20 seconds. And at that awkward cutoff from that line, I died laughing, dude. Oh my God, it was so good. But yeah, there are multiple scenes that I just fucking lost my shit. This is one of those, so just real quick, I don't typically subscribe to the so bad it's good type of thing. I know you love movies like that.
Oh God, I love
there's a
them.
handful of those types of movies that I'm on board for, but this had a few moments where I was laughing so hard at like unintentionally hilarious moments that this did become that for me, where it was so bad that it was fun to watch.
The Cullens don't come here. Like I burst out laughing at that because the guy's delivery and the random line. Even the cast looks at him like, "What?" when he says it.
It is the most cringy, in every sense of the word, movie I've ever seen. Like,
even
so many extended stares. Like, if you love watching pasty white people stare at other pasty white people, this is the movie for you.
Orgasmically.
Dude.
There is. Even when there are legit good people on screen, the filming and the editing makes it so awkward and bad.
It's brutally edited. Holy fuck. We'll get there. We'll get there.
It's so bad.
This is a fascinating movie to me to watch and really like break down
Please.
What actors do when they are given no direction.
Yeah.
Because you can tell there are some actors in here like Pattinson is able to dance around some of these scenes because Pattinson is super talented. He's actually had like a background like schooling in this type of shit. He understands and can like dance around the bad act, like the bad direction. I mean, Kristen Stewart is fucking lost. And it's like hard to watch because she is just,
and thus are we all.
she is fucking lost at all times, and it ends up being moments where she's just like, it looks like she's developing a speech impediment in real time, and I'm just like, I want to give her a hug because I feel bad for her.
Okay, after I used to always just think she was awful, and then after like Underwater is the only other thing I've seen her in. So after watching Underwater, watching this again, I just felt sorry for her.
It sucks because
she's not the best actress I've ever seen in Underwater, but she is acting.
She's competent,
and she's competent in that movie because she's being given a helping hand. She's getting direction. There's a solid script. This script felt like it was being written scene by scene as they filmed.
Yeah,
like
that's putting it kindly. This movie reminds me of so much of the same like DNA of M. Night's Airbender movie, because I've had that movie on the mind recently because of the Netflix live action series, and where there's just so many sequences where actors are just like hung out to dry. Like there's a lot of that to where you have to be like that. Now there are some like decent actors, especially in like the sequels, like oh god, what is the I think he's like either the main villain or like one of the villains later on. Isn't the Frost versus Nixon guy? I think we talked about it at the end of the last episode. The guy who was also in like the Underworld prequel movie.
Oh yeah.
What Michael Sheen?
Yes.
Is that his name?
Michael Sheen.
So like there's some like good actors later on. It helps when I went back and looked. The director of the last couple of movies was Bill Condon, who has like directed the live action Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So like he has made actual films before. One of the sequels
Chicago too, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if he directed it, but he at least wrote it. He might have directed it as well.
That movie was a hit, though. So I mean, he's actually competent.
He's actually made movies.
Yeah.
David Slade directed one of the sequels. He was the director of 30 Days of Night. He's directed competent movies. This director, I don't understand. It is a like Shyamalan level of what the fuck were y'all thinking picking this person to direct this movie? Because did you look at her IMDb?
No, I was trying to not spoil myself for the podcast.
Oh my god, she hasn't fucking done anything. I don't understand. Like, I'll pull up her fucking movies she did before this. 13.
All right.
Lords of Dogtown.
I've heard of that one.
The Nativity Story.
Okay.
That's it. That's all she'd made before Twilight. In what universe is any of this? leading towards let's hire the person for what we think can be a franchise that is a genre romance thing for young adults. Like in what universe? That does not compute, man.
I'll give them this. They went out and hired a female director for a female-led story.
I will give them that. But
that was before the trend in Hollywood was to do that.
It was, but even back then there were more. Oh yeah, like there were more qualified female directors to choose from.
Absolutely.
Like, what are y'all fucking?
She's cheap, I bet.
It was just like picking M. Night for Airbender. It's like the fucking math doesn't check out, man. Like 2 + 2 fucking don't equal 4 in these scenarios.
What it is these people are cheap, right? So this is the GoBots to Harry Potter's Transformers.
Yeah,
right?
That's an excellent analogy for it. I agree.
Going to make as much money as possible, so make it as cheaply as possible, throw it out, people will pay to see it, and they did, and it was some of the worst nights of my life at the movie theater.
I can only imagine,
dude,
being present for people who are actually like hyped about this, because it is, I understand this is not aimed at me, but there have also been other entries in this exact same kind of like supernatural, like romance, young adult genre piece type things that have been like pretty good that I've enjoyed. So I'm not like anti this entire genre. I'm anti this level of fucking writing and acting and direction. It's just like painful to sit through.
Yeah, the worst night I ever had ended with, it was a Thursday night. We had 16 screens, and I believe we had, I think it was the third Twilight movie on something insane, like 13 or 14 of them, because we installed interlocking systems. Interlocking is where you have one film print threaded through multiple projectors.
Yeah.
And we took like 3 or 4 film prints and just ran them through the entire building. Yeah, that night ended when the movies were finally going. We didn't get a test run of the interlocking system. We were doing it on the fly. There were problems, but we got everything running. Everything was running smoothly. And when it was, I was a manager at the time. You know the lobby of the theater I worked in. It has that huge lobby, and there's the area in the center of it.
Yeah.
All of us managers were just standing in a circle, just staring at the floor, not speaking because we're so exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And the general manager just took off his keys and threw them in the middle of the circle, like he was a cop taking his badge off in RoboCop and throwing it on the ground. Like he was just like, "Fuck this, I'm out." It was bad. The thing that flabbergasted me about these movies, all of them, when they came to theaters, there were just as many teenage girls buying tickets as there were 50-year-old women buying tickets to the midnight shows. Like, it was insanity, and they were the worst. The teenagers just came in, got their concessions, went to their movie, and that was the end of it. It was the 50-year-olds dealing with them. They were usually drunk. They came in like dresses, like they were dressed up for this.
Yeah, this was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah,
for a hot minute. It was huge, and I'm all for books and movies that are made specifically for women. Like, I'm all about it.
Oh yeah.
That's totally.
I just don't want to work them.
I'm not trying to like take anything away from them. I'm super happy that they had these things.
Well, this movie didn't give them anything, so you're not really taking anything away.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like picking. It almost seems like they picked this like super cheap no-name director because they knew that this IP was bulletproof, regardless of the quality. And then what could happen is this first movie is going to be super cheap. It's a fucking licensed print money. We're gonna just bank so much money. We'll circle back around and hire competent people, and that is like a slap in the face to the people who were really excited. Now, granted, like if they were that level of excited for it, they probably still love the fuck out of it, and because it's one of those things where it's like even if they deep down didn't like it, they wouldn't acknowledge it because they were, you know, it was like the Phantom Menace effect. Like they wouldn't admit that it was a piece of shit because we've been excited for it for 20 years. Surely it's going to be great.
20 years.
Surely it's going to be great, you know. But before we circle back fully back into Twilight, what were you going to say? I was going to circle us back to questions because we have a couple questions.
Let's do questions.
Yeah. Did you have another anecdote? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nope, I did not.
All right. Would you like to relay our first question that we have? And if you have any prompts or questions that you would like to discuss at the beginning of the show, you can always email us screenplayrewind@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter @SPRFilmcast.
Did you say screenplayrewind@gmail.com or SPR Filmcast?
No, I didn't. You got it wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
We'll fix it in post.
So my wife, her question, and she says to answer this, we have to watch all of them.
Oh God!
At least
you will have to strap me into the Clockwork Orange machine.
At least up to the second one, and I believe she said this is what she's picking every year until we've gone through them all.
I respect that actually.
But she wants to know: Team Edward or Team Jacob? And this is why she says you have to watch them all to answer the question.
I choose option C, which is Nuke Cthulhu and myself at the bottom of the fucking ocean floor.
Option C, the bullet I just loaded in the chamber. Yeah,
Nuke Cthulhu. That's the only way to be sure.
Like, I don't know. They're both so terrible in the movies.
You know what? I actually had a conversation earlier with Aurora about this. I'm picking Robert Pattinson because Taylor Lautner has one of the most irritating voices I've ever heard on a human being.
You remember they tried to make him an action star?
Oh, yeah.
What was the name of that movie?
Oh, God. I know exactly which movie you're talking about. I'm going to have to pull it up to fact
on the poster, isn't he like...
Abduction. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Hey, Shark Boy, Liam Neeson, you are not.
He was Shark Boy! I forgot!
Yeah.
Oh.
I love how they present him in the movie, too. So he's got, like, the long, flowing fucking wig.
Yeah.
He looks like he'd have, like, a deep voice. And then he's just like, hey, now, Mr. Pattinson, I'm Shark Boy, and you're fucking around with my girl. And if you keep fucking around with my girl, we're gonna have problems. He's so annoying. That ending of this movie is a fucking like teasing for the sequel where they have like at the prom that is equipped for like 12 total people to be able to. That is a house party. That's not a fucking prom. It's like, the dance floor. It's like there's like 12 people that can fit on the fucking dance floor. Like, what the fuck? But they're little stare down at the end where they have like the beginning of the romantic triangle bullshit. He's just like, now, Mr. Cullen, if you fuck around too much, we're gonna have a problem. Just like, you're supposed to be intimidating right now, and you sound like Shark Boy. I can't take you seriously, man. Fucking Christ. Okay.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I am team 100-year-old. The thing I love about these high school girls is I keep getting older and they stay the same age. I'll take that guy.
It's got to be the same for me.
Yeah. Not Shark Boy. You're not Team Shark Boy.
Not Team Shark Boy. Not only so we've basically decided that while she's not the best actress, when she has direction, Kristen Stewart is pretty much okay. She's good. Yeah. I do not feel the same way about Taylor Lautner, and he's the
now you listen here, podcast boy. If you keep talking bad about me, we're gonna have a problem.
One of my least favorite tropes for werewolf, also. So, yeah.
Well, what's the least favorite trope about it? Because this is the only one of these movies I've seen. I know like some of the shit in the later movies, like the CGI baby and the love triangle and some of the other nonsense that
Dude.
happens, but I haven't seen any of them. So.
Not only is the baby CGI, they did a CGI once over on all of the people. It looks like you're watching a PS2 cutscene for the entire last 2 movies.
And these movies made billions of dollars.
Yep.
And it all went into somebody's fucking yacht fund and did not go back onto the screen.
Dude,
and that also kind of pisses me off.
They're going to make more money because they had that animated series coming too.
There's more?
There's more.
Oh, like Ron was also telling me like that they have remade the first novel not twice but 3 times.
Yep.
And that is some next level. Like I understand you're just capitalizing on what makes you fucking money, and she's hella rich. That is fucking shameless and embarrassing.
It is.
I'm sorry.
And like I said in the green room, I would probably do the same thing.
I'd probably do the same thing. But just in a nutshell, it is shameless and embarrassing.
Oh, it is. I 100% agree. But I also just want to throw out there, I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah, it's just
because I would have no shame if I'm making that kind of money.
Right.
No, so he's a werewolf, but only when vampires are around, and there's really no upside to it. Like there's not really a downside, and there's not really an upside. Like the vampire comes around, he turns into a big dog that runs around on all 4s and just kind of howls. He's not really strong or anything. He doesn't have to tear anyone apart and light them on fire to kill them. He just has the ability to do that. He also cannot spread, like it's not a curse, so he can't spread it or make others. It's just the tribe members.
So it's like the Harry Potter like wolf transformation instead of like a werewolf. It's just like you turn into a literal wolf, pretty much.
You turn into a literal wolf that is probably big enough to ride.
Okay. You
turn into a World of Warcraft mount.
I am more partial to werewolves than I am to vampires.
I am too.
I am kind of irritated by the fact that sunlight doesn't kill them because they have no downsides at that point, basically, which adds further confusion and just utter plot contrivance to Edward. So you don't want to be immortal, it fucking sucks, except for we're all super rich and can live forever and stay young forever.
And we're all daywalkers.
And we don't die in sunlight, blah, 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 but there are no fucking downsides. So like, at least if they died in sunlight, it would add a little bit more like to that point of you don't really want to be like this. It's a curse, blah, 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 but there are no fucking downsides. So
now,
why wouldn't you want to be immortal?
To be clear, also, or not to be clear, but to be fair, rather, this is not the only property where sunlight doesn't hurt vampires. Like Bram Stoker's Dracula, he can walk around in sunlight.
Yeah, I'm talking about just like every time they have no downsides, especially if you're going down the route of one of the main characters is going to say you don't want this, it's actually a curse.
No,
even though
I'm fine with it.
Not.
I'm fine with it. Go ahead, give me the bite.
Yeah, exactly. It's like why wouldn't you want to be immortal?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it kind of sucks that you get there's a whole conversation.
It kind of sucks. I can't have a cheeseburger again, but immortal.
Yeah. Fucking immortal. And he's shown they have multiple people that have been able to circumvent the like constant feeling of hunger. It's like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but they were able to get past it and fucking be immortal. So fuck you, Edward.
Yeah, the other thing, I mean, just give me the bite so I don't have to sleep anymore. I fucking hate sleep.
Oh, dude, not having to sleep and just being able to be...
That's the biggest perk.
That is such a huge perk, because like you've talked multiple times to me about how like that would be like your requested like superpower is like to never have to sleep again, because you just think of how much time you lose to it.
I made Chris laugh pretty hard when Bella walks into his room and she goes, "No bed?" And then I added, "Where do you fuck?"
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
There's something about in the way she said it. The first thing that popped in my head was, "Where do you fuck?"
He never does it at his house because he has to be already at the other person's house because he likes watching them sleep too much.
He has to be at the other person's house because they have a bed.
He has to be over there to watch them sleep. And they can't sleep at his place because he's got no fucking bed. So he's just going to be over there. I'm going to hop in through your windows. And I'm going to watch you sleep. And then we'll already be here when it happens. It's
so
fine.
I was listening to the HP Lovecraft Literary Podcast at hppodcraft.com. They were talking about the Vampire Lestat, I believe. I don't think it was the Interview of the Vampire. I think it was the Vampire Lestat. And then they went into a full-blown Twilight conversation. This was like 2 days ago that I was listening to this. They made the point that this is literally the non-horror version of an Anne Rice novel. That Anne Rice is a horror writer, but she was kind of one of the first ones to put all the romance and stuff into it. Like Bram Stoker's Dracula and stuff has some of that, but she kind of made this template, but it was full-blown horror. And if you take all the horror out of what she writes, you get Twilight, basically. Which I thought that was an interesting point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a horror guy, so
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta be Team Edward just because I like The Lighthouse, and I too would probably fuck a steak. Although that's a double entendre if he's a vampire.
All I'm saying is the fucking steak has more charisma than Kristen Stewart in this movie. Like, holy hell. That's another thing too. We're gonna get into more detail later because we have to run through all of the cast and crew, and we have another question. But I don't buy for a fucking second that Edward and Bella have any reason to like each other at all.
No, not at all. It couldn't be more forced. There's zero chemistry.
There's no chemistry. The dialogue between them is so bad. It's all about him not being able to resist her because reasons, and her still wanting him to be around because reasons. And it's just fucking awful. Like, they should hate each other. They're just assholes to each other. Nothing romantic happens until the last 5 minutes of the movie when he she has a cast on her leg and he is helping her dance on his legs. That's a pretty cute romantic moment. It took them an hour and 55 fucking minutes to have a romantic moment in a movie that is subcredited as a romantic movie. It's fucking bullshit.
When she leaves her house to go on the run from James, I guess Jesse wasn't available. We had James, and I hit the button on my Apple TV to check the time, and it was an hour and 28 minutes before anything got interesting, by the way, in a 2-hour movie. But that's when the action scenes are starting. And then later I mentioned, it just took so long for me to start caring about anything, even remotely. And Chris goes, "Is that why you checked the time partway through?" And I was like, "It is, because it took them an hour 28 minutes to get my attention." even in the slightest. But for the record, she didn't ask me to say this, but I already know the answer. In the movies, Christina is Team Edward because they make Jacob so awkward, but in the books, she is Team Jacob.
I get it. I mean, because what happens when you read
I got that right.
When you're reading the book, right. You want to know what happens when you're reading the book compared to watching the movie?
I might have that backwards, now that I think about it.
You want to know what happens when you're reading the book? You don't gotta fucking hear Taylor Lautner talk. And that is all the difference, dude.
I was going to say you feel like a Lovecraftian protagonist.
Oh, fuck. Our next question comes in from Aurora, and it is also Twilight related. Are you excited?
Oh, yes.
I'm excited. Okay, Ron. What is your favorite Twilight line and why? And you have fucking so many to choose from. I have been scrolling through the quotes page, and some of these quotes could be edited in by fans and actually weren't in the movie, and I couldn't tell you the difference because the quality is so fucking brutally bad.
Oh boy.
I think I have one of mine that I just stumbled upon if you wanted a second to think about it.
Sure.
Obviously, my favorite one has to. I'm gonna pick another answer because this one is just so easy. But I like watching you sleep. It's kind of fascinating to me. That's supposed to be romantic.
Yeah.
That is displayed with the cadence on the. I'm sure that's a direct line from the novel. I'm sure that is written with the cadence of being romantic and oh, he's so dreamy. He watches me fucking dream. He's been doing it for 2 months. They hadn't even fucking been dating for that long. So he's been watching her sleep even before they were dating. it's not okay. She's like fucking 17 years old, dude. And I know he's 17 forever, but he's a fucking geriatric.
Not 17.
He's not 17. It's not the
He's
fucking same
100
thing.
years old.
He's 100 years old.
Yeah.
It's not okay. But another one I will let me find it because it's just good God. Some of these lines. Oh my God. What do you have a line yet? I'm trying to find the one that I found that I wanted to talk about.
No, I'm scrolling through here.
There's so many to choose from.
I've seen this movie like 5 times, and I still don't really remember any of the lines.
It's like when you're watching the scenes on like a scene to scene basis, it just goes in one ear and out the other because it's so repetitive. Like every single scene with Bella and Edward is just, I can't resist you. I don't want you to resist me. I can't resist you. I don't want you to resist me. It's just over and over and over again. Here's one. You're like my own personal brand of heroin.
Yeah, I just looked at that one.
Oh God.
Wow.
I love it. I love it.
People have added more quotes to this than any other movie we've covered. This is crazy. He literally uses the word matriculate or however you say it.
Oh yeah. I absolutely love the scene that is supposed to be romantic where he's about to kiss her and he's just like, be very still. Don't move. I might miss. Be very still. No, don't you peek. Don't you move. Be very still. How is this romantic? What the fuck? Oh. Come here. You're like my own personal brand of heroin. I don't want to miss. Come here. Don't move.
I don't know what this voice is you're doing, but I love it. I want you to do more of this. Oh.
It's so good. That's one of those things. Watching this movie too with like someone else as you're making jokes is a fucking like just actively riff tracking Twilight with a friend or like a significant other or something is one of the best ways you can spend a fucking night. It is hysterical. Like I haven't seen. Have you watched the riff tracks for this? Because I bet it's just the fucking best.
No, I have not. But I don't know. If I ever watch this movie again, that's the way I'm watching it.
I feel like we need to watch the riff tracks of this like with like everybody over at your place with booze, and that would be a fucking great time.
Oh my God. I just
the fucking quotes, dude. The quotes are so good.
We will meet again at Twilight.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I can't.
I just don't know. I just can't.
Oh my goodness. Again, if you would like to be SBR's personal brand of heroin, you can always email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com.
Okay. Keep in mind, he is shimmering like a diamond when he says this is the skin of a killer. Like, what?
It is so contrived to be like
everything is so forced.
The angst level is cranked to 12, dude. There's so much angst. Oh my God. Like also here's something too I noticed. We'll get to the cast in a second. I call bullshit on I'm assuming it's probably like in more detail in the book because it always is, but like earlier on in the movie, Bella is talking as if she's like tortured while at high school. Everyone there is pretty cool to her.
Yeah.
Like for the most part. She's like, oh my God, I fucking hate all these people, bro. And there's a couple of them that are kind of like
totally fine.
There's a couple of them, like there's a couple of guys who are clearly into her, but they're not like the only person who crosses the line is fucking Edward, dude. The other guys she keeps talking about, oh, I fucking hate it here.
I don't
know. They're talking to her, and like the one guy is like trying to ask her to the prom, and he's like, "Oh, you're going with Edward." It's like, I don't like it, and it's just like, I agree with you, bro. He's been watching her sleep for 2 months. The guy is a walking restraining order, fucking waiting to happen.
What a sick masochistic lion.
Yeah, I call bullshit on all of her high school based angst because
there is one uncomfortable moment where the dude just kisses her and runs off, but outside of that, like, I don't know, it seems like she's having a better time than I did.
Yeah, high school can be a hell of a lot fucking worse than what is presented here. And if you were gonna bother to translate her teenage angst about having to go to high school, then they should have written in more. There's even a line when she arrives in her fucking truck that looks like Mater from Cars. When she arrives at the school, one of the guys is just like, I don't know if he was supposed to deliver the line like an asshole, but he was like, "Nice ride," and she responds to it like he said like, "Oh man, nice ride," but he didn't. I don't know if he was supposed to, but he didn't, and she's just like a dick to that guy. And just like,
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I
don't know who fucked up the delivery. The script probably didn't have any direction either because the fucking lady that wrote it is also a hack.
Is it weird to you that they're not only vampires, they're the X-Men? Is that fucking weird to you?
Why do they have superpowers?
I don't know. And being a vampire is a superpower.
I fucking love how nonchalant they are with the fact that someone can see the fucking future.
Yeah.
Because
we don't talk about Alice.
Like, that is like taking things up to an extra level beyond even just fucking vampiric powers. Even their like Captain America levels of like super strength and bullshit. They can see the fucking future, man. Which,
by the way, I messed. Where's my cast? Here it is. Ashley Greene, who plays Alice, is probably the most natural person that plays a character in the family. Like,
which one is that?
Alice is the one that sees the future.
Okay.
She is probably the only one that doesn't seem like she's forcing the character at all.
Agreed.
And Chris said that Alice in the book is like one of her favorite characters. Like, Alice is really good.
Okay.
But yeah, Ashley Greene did a really fantastic job, especially when she is first introduced, when she comes walking in on one of the tree branches and just steps into the house. By the way, when they make the comment that Jasper looks like he's always in pain, he just recently quit drinking human blood, and he's at a high school full of all these kids.
Can you please explain to me if the school doesn't fucking give a shit that they are constantly just not present anyway when the sun is out?
Yeah.
Why do they have to bother to go to school? Why bother?
I don't know. If
you can just you have made now it's also they don't need to make money anymore because they've been collecting interest on their money for over 100 years via the dad. You can see the house they can fucking afford. They don't need additional money. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're clearly so here's the thing too, is they clearly established that they are making new identities because they move from place to place and graduate 400 times with the fucking graduation hats on the wall. Why don't you just establish your new identity as being 20 years old and out of high school?
Exactly.
You fucking idiots.
You're old,
why?
You're old enough looking to get away with that. The only thing I could think of, because I thought about this also, the only thing I could think of is it is how they keep in touch with changing times, changing trends, updated like science and everything else, social studies.
Also,
that's the only thing I can think of.
Also, how is Edward gonna pick who he watches sleep if he doesn't go hang out with the high school chicks? You know, he's gotta go. Yeah, he's gotta go browse around.
Now, as creepy as that is, I have to say, if you could read people's minds, it would be fascinating to just go from house to house at night watching people's dreams.
It would. I just wish he wasn't dating the 17-year-old doing it. I am at a loss on some of no. Here's the thing too. I actually think some of the members of the family have like pretty cool setups. Like the dad being a doctor since like the Spanish flu is pretty cool. I like the character of the dad.
Here's the thing. He was already a vampire in 1918. Carlisle's been around.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty cool cat. Like this is one of those instances. The Hunger Games was also like this.
Oh Jesus!
The Hunger Games was also like this in the fact that the Hunger Games, just like Twilight, for whatever reason, these like fucking young adult writers can come up with cool concepts for side characters that are barely in the story.
Everyone.
The thing is, the protagonist that you spend the most time with in all of these types of books, like the Hunger Games, the Twilight, Maze Runner, the protagonists are so fucking boring in comparison to some of the side characters, and it's just interesting to me that always fucking happens.
Yeah, I told Chris that the thing that annoys me, other than everything, is there are several interesting characters in Twilight I would like to know more about that we just never follow up on or find out about. Like, I think the big three in this, Laurent, James, and Victoria, are cool.
Yeah, it's the side characters. They do have interesting setups.
Like, James is Sabretooth.
Like here's another interesting like development with the characters, or like lack thereof. We spend so much time with Edward in this movie. One of the most interesting things about being an immortal person is the fact that you are present for history from decade to decade, and you can actually have the time to like react and develop as a person because you see the way like mankind develops even over the course of 100 years. There are no flashbacks with Edward even.
Nope.
He has no character.
Except for Carlisle biting
except for him being turned. There is...
Turned.
Why don't you show flashbacks to him being present in like the Civil Rights era or World War II or I don't know,
World War I even.
Fucking anything. Why isn't there an entire segment about like what if the doctor guy was like a doctor during like World War I and had the choice to like save certain people or turn them into vampires? That's like a whole fucking movie. Not on the page. Nope. Not on the movie. So much that's one of the things that like pissed me off with X-Men Origins Wolverine is like one of the coolest things they could have done in that movie with that character is actually show the character progress throughout time, and it's always just a fucking montage. And Twilight doesn't even give you a fucking montage because Edward has no character. His entire character is just not being able to resist Bella, and that is just plot. That's not characterization.
He's only drawn to her because his powers don't work on her.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Because I don't know if you know what her powers are, but
so Bella has powers.
Yeah,
what are her powers exactly? Because they allude to it in the movie, but I don't know that much about it.
She is Mrs. Fantastic with the force fields. She can put up force fields.
Of course she can.
Yeah,
because this movie, why, like you said, why is it gotta be fucking X-Men?
Yeah,
why can't their immortality be a fucking superpower enough?
I pointed out to Chris. So in Bleach terms, I was like, are there fucking, oh God, I just lost it. Quincy's. I was like, are there fucking Quincy's in this? Because in the context of the movie, that implies that her powers are there and dormant, right? She's being protected by her powers from Edward, right?
Uh-huh.
So I was like, are there any humans who awaken their powers without being turned into anything? Because that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because like that is literally what Quincy's are in Bleach. They're humans that fight monsters that have developed their own subset of powers to do this. And she said no. And I was but clearly her powers are there. She doesn't get them from turning. She clearly has them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's the problem. The problem is there are some interesting concepts at work in Twilight. There often are in these like types of movies that reach this level of popularity.
These types of movies.
But the problem is like the writer is just collecting like plot contrivance soup. And there's just like all of these different plot elements that are unnecessary, and it's just like throwing shit to see what sticks. And there are interesting elements, but there's so many elements to like sort through that nothing properly gets time, it's really frustrating. That because and even if in the first book there is more detail presented answering some of these questions that you and I have had, the movie needs to convey some of these plot points because it's not fair to people who didn't read the books. You should also make your adaptation work for people that are going in fresh. It's not just for the readers, it's also for everyone else.
So going into it this time, whereas you were simultaneously having the best and worst night of your life, like I said, I've seen this movie over the years. I mean, my wife and I have been together since 2006, so I've seen this movie off and on the background or whatever several times now. But I reached the point with it this time that I do with Harry Potter every time it's on, where I'd be like, oh, okay, hang on, pause it. And then she'll pause it and I'd be like, why is so-and-so doing this? Or why are they doing this? Or like whatever. And she has to explain the book to me because it's clearly not aimed at someone who hasn't read the book. And this is the most attention I've paid to this movie since it first came out. So I was just like, no, hang on. And we'd pause it and we would go into all of this, why the book is much better than the movie, and then go back to the shit movie.
It's not even a Cliff Notes. It's like it's like a half finished Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
You know?
A movie that I like that is considered universally terrible and was hated by Anne Rice was Queen of the Damned. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I have.
So they took the Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned and just smushed those books together and threw it up on screen. Is
Lestat the interview with the vampire?
See, I know the book. I've never seen the movie. In the book, it is the vampire that Lestat creates that is the one being interviewed.
Okay, yeah. Lestat is Tom Cruise in Interview with the Vampire. Okay.
I didn't even know he was in that. I've never seen that movie. Okay. But I've seen Queen of the Damned, and this movie, like Twilight as a series, is literally the movie Queen of the Damned.
Okay.
And yeah, that came out in 2002. So, do what you will with that. It's this chick that is chasing after Lestat. She goes and finds other vampires. Lestat has to save her from these vampires.
Oh, so it's literally the same story.
And then she ends up going to their, like, quote unquote family, but it's more of like a convent type thing. And then the Queen of the Damned shows up and they have to battle the Queen of the Damned and tear her apart. And then at the end of the movie, she goes back to Doctor Who. She was hanging out with Doctor Who. Then she ends up going back to Doctor Who as a vampire that Lestat has turned.
Which Doctor Who actor?
McGann. Paul McGann.
Okay. I was going
to... only Paul McGann of all the Doctor Who's would be in this movie. But I actually like this movie, Queen of the Damned, because it is... When it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, it's so good. I want to have it on the show at some point, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. If you watch that one movie, it is the Cliff Notes of the entire Twilight saga.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, it really is. I'm not even joking. She copied her.
She fucking copied her homework and didn't show the work, dude. Like,
yeah, it's interesting.
All right, let's get through the cast. So we've already talked a lot about Kristen Stewart. You and I are on the exact same page in that she can be competent. She just needs competent direction, and that is not present for this.
The way you just said that, you were such a dick. She can be competent. Oh, that was so good.
But yeah, I'm on the same page. What was the movie that she was in with Ryan Reynolds? Is it Adventureland? She was also pretty good in that.
It's one of those theme park movies.
Yeah, Adventureland. Yeah, so Adventureland came out like a couple years after Twilight, and Adventureland's like she's pretty good in it.
Is the other one Adventure Park? Is that the other one? I get them mixed up. The Jackass guy.
I don't know. Adventureland is the one with Ryan Reynolds, Kristen Stewart, and Jesse Eisenberg. I don't know about the other one.
Oh my god, I don't give a shit. Go away. Hang on, I'm gonna I can't think of his name. I gotta look.
But yeah,
Johnny
I think
Knoxville.
that I think that Adventureland is a pretty solid movie. It probably hasn't aged particularly well because it's just because the late first decade of the aughts, like there's a wasteland of really bad movies being made around that time.
Johnny Knoxville is Leonardo in that live action TMNT movie.
Which one?
The Michael Bay produced one.
If he is, I did not know that. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. Oh, that makes me so sad. That's my favorite character.
Yeah.
Hang on. Action Point. Is the name of that one. It's real quick aside. There is a documentary on HBO about the theme park they based this movie on. It's really good. It is unbelievable. This guy just went to Home Depot and bought some shit and created a theme park that like fucking killed people.
Of course,
and stuff. Yeah, and he made a ton of money off of it, and no one could sue him. No one could bring him up on charges or arrest him or anything. He was immune. It is incredible. I'm gonna see if I can find the name of that HBO documentary. I watched it a few months ago. But
and that's just natural selection taking place if you voluntarily go on the rides at the makeshift fucking theme parks at state fairs. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's everyone. I want to say it was New Jersey. Just everyone in the state wanted him gone, but no one could do anything. He had bought himself into a point so solid that no one could get rid of him. And I want to say it was actually, yeah. I didn't even have to finish typing it. Auto-completed. Class Action Park is the name of the documentary. Action Point is the movie with Johnny Knoxville based on Action Park. And Action Park is a fascinating story. The documentary is called Class Action Park, which is really a really good name.
Nice.
But yeah, that's on HBO. You have to watch it.
This sounds up my alley.
It's terrifying, dude. You have to watch it. Anyways, sorry, you were saying.
No, you're good. Yeah, so we talked about Kristen Stewart. We're pretty much on the same page. Some of her facial reactions make for some of the best gifs you will ever see in your life. Just go to Tenor. If you were having a bad day and need to pick me up, just go to Tenor, fucking type in Twilight Bella, and good God, will you have a great time, because it's insane. We obviously have Robert Pattinson playing Edward Cullen. I also hate how IMDb has kind of like gone back and forth. It seems like every single day on whether the cast is presented in like a random order or actually in like an order that makes sense. So I'm just kind of like scrolling around randomly right now because like Robert Pattinson is like halfway down the fucking cast list in this shit. I don't know if it's maybe an order of appearance based on like the movie, showing order of appearance, but whatever the fuck, it drives me crazy. Okay, to me, the most likable character in the fucking movie is Billy Burke, who is her dad. Like, he's trying so hard. And Bella is just a fucking charisma black hole.
Like I said, though, I can't look at Billy Burke without thinking about Mafia and him just walking around to all the blackjack tables tasing the wrong people. It's fucking incredible.
But I think he's doing a good job in this. Like, he's trying to play the dad. It's a kind of a cliche, but I think he does a good job of like, I'm very disconnected from my daughter. I'm trying to be nice to her and like friendly, but not overbearing. And that's like a hard, place to be in for a parent. And I think he's pretty likable. And at the ending of oh, by the way, spoilers for Twilight. I think we forgot to relay that 53 minutes ago.
16-year-old movie.
At the end, what is supposed to be one of the most like important relationships in the fucking movie, is Bella with her dad, and how much of a fucking asshole she is to him when she's trying to go to Phoenix, wherever the fuck she goes on a road trip to at the end. She's like, "Can you go get dad so I can say my apologies?" And they never have that scene.
That's such an important moment.
Have that one of the only fucking moments in the movie that has done any of the groundwork to have an emotional payoff is them having that scene when she talks to him and actually, like is like, she opens up about, like, I appreciate you trying your best. We're in a like difficult situation. I actually, like, love you. All this shit that fucking writes itself and actually has fucking pathos to it. No, we have to have the 50th fucking exchange of dialogue between Bella and Edward about, I don't deserve you. We can't be friends. I can't resist you, my favorite heroine. Blah, 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 blah. And fuck them for that. The only fucking scene I wanted was her actually apologizing to her fucking dad. But no, we gotta go we can make time for fucking Shark Boy later on in a few minutes, but we can't have time for the fucking emotional payoff of her and her dad. Fuck this movie. I hate that part so much. Continuing. We have Shark Boy as Jacob Black. I didn't know fucking Gil Birmingham. I love Gil Birmingham.
Yeah.
Do you remember him as Jeff Bridges' partner in Hell or High Water?
Oh, that's right.
He is awesome in that movie. I love him and Jeff Bridges in that movie so much. Their dynamic is amazing in that movie. And I love Gil Birmingham. And I'm sorry to say that his IMDb is forever tarnished by Twilight because I like Gil Birmingham a lot. He's awesome. We have Anna Kendrick, fortunately able to maintain her career. That does not go for everybody.
Yeah, it's her Hollywood launch, and now she's writing and directing movies.
Yeah, I like Anna Kendrick a lot, and I'm glad that she didn't get fucking blacklisted from society because of fucking Twilight. Because there are some scenes where
Valley Girl is so painful in this, and it's not her. She's acting her ass off.
It's excruciating.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's excruciating. Oh God, where to go to from here? We have Michael Welch, who plays Mike Newton. Mike is the guy who's like, yeah, you were there, I don't like it. That's that guy, right? Looks like that guy.
Yeah, I think so. And
a lot of the IMDb photos are of the actors now, and a lot of them look nothing like they did in Twilight, so it's hard to say. Nikki Reed plays Rosalie. Kellen Lutz says Emmett Cullen. Ashley Greene, that we talked about earlier, plays Alice. Sokka from The Last Airbender is Jasper. I think he's probably fine in this. Great that he has like 2 lines of dialogue, but
he as the books and therefore the movies go on and he gets himself under control, he actually ends up being really good as an actor in the later movies.
Oh, he does? Okay. Yeah, this is all he's in the first movie he's given like literally 2 lines.
Yeah, he has just become a vegetarian or whatever they called themselves earlier.
So pretty much what I'm gathering from the later books and the later movies is every character becomes kind of cool except for Bella, Edward, and Jacob.
Basically. And the thing that's really going to piss you off is they don't touch on it at all in the movies, is from what my wife has told me, because I'm never reading these books.
Missing out. They're my favorite personal brand of heroin.
Dude. Oh my God. I read The Host. That's a Stephanie Meyer book also, and movie.
I forgot that was the same person that wrote that as Twilight.
While that book is mildly interesting in the least definition of those words, her writing style is so bad. It was so hard to get through, but it was interesting enough. I went through it.
I can't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But Jasper's backstory is he was, I believe, a Confederate soldier in the Civil War. And when he gets turned, he is basically used by the woman that turns him as just basically like a weapon, and like she pretends to be in love with him and stuff, but she makes him do all these like terrible atrocities. And I think he ends up killing her when she kind of pushes him too far, and he finds out that she's just using him, that she has no intention of ever being with him, that she's actually with someone else. I think he kills her, and that's his backstory. And like his backstory is so much more interesting than what happens in any of these books. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they always have this cool, barely talked about fucking 2-second long backstory of a side character is always so much more interesting than the main characters of the story, and I fucking hate that.
He's like Jonah Hex if Jonah Hex was a vampire, basically.
So much more interesting than fucking God. I fucking hate Edward. Edward is such a fucking terrible fucking
Edward's
character.
backstory was I got sick and then my doctor bit me.
Hey, my doctor bit my neck and I can't resist you. Oh, you want to know about my background or like what makes me, me? Fuck you. I can't resist you.
So there I was, laying in bed, dying. I looked at my doctor and wondered what that mouth do, and I found out. I don't know.
Oh man.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
God, yeah. I don't know if this is fully under the Hippocratic Oath, but I guess he's not like entirely against the Hippocratic Oath. Is there anyone else in the cast we haven't touched on?
We didn't touch on the three baddies.
Okay. I'm trying to. The fucking IMDb page is just an atrocity, dude.
James, Victoria, and Laurent. Victoria is the one I want to talk about.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Rochelle Lefevre.
So this is the lady at the end that's like the teaser for the next movie, right? She's like gonna hunt them down.
She's the big bad. She's the villain.
If she's gonna be the main villain of the second movie, how about we give her more than one line of dialogue?
And the third, and the fourth, and the fifth.
How about we give her a little bit of character motivation? Oh wait, we don't know what that means. That doesn't exist in our world.
Chris pointed out to me, this was the first time I'd seen this. You see her before they show her in the dance scene at the end. She's over by the little roulette wheel thing.
It was probably an accident. They probably just brought her in instead of an extra, and then that's just
But you can see her there before they flash up to her in the window. But also, one of the best actors in the movie, especially that little half smile she does as it fades to credits as she goes down the stairs. But she kind of got fucked by these movies. She is in all of them except the last two. And she's the villain of all of them. She had turned down other important roles, things that ended up being big, because she didn't want to be the type of actor that just chases the paycheck and drops projects on a dime. She had committed to this character, and she did other projects, but she also did this. And she found out that in the last couple of movies, they were switching to Bryce Dallas Howard when they announced the casting to the public.
Wait, they recast her in the later movies?
They recast her in the last couple of films. So
You're
the
shitting
last book,
me.
to Bryce Dallas Howard, who was Bryce Dallas Howard is fine. I've got nothing against her, but her portrayal of the character versus Rochelle Lefevre, her portrayal of the character was jarring.
Yeah, because she's not usually a fucking villainous person in the movies she's in.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, dude. That makes me even more mad.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why they did it. They said publicly that it was a scheduling conflict with her. The overlap was only 10 days. Well, she could have come in and done the project. We were only talking a week and a half. She could have come in and
that's just bullshit. They just wanted to get a bigger name.
Yep.
They're so full of shit.
And
fuck these movies.
Now, I really should have looked this up before I say any more, but to my memory, when I was reading about this as it was happening, you can't help but be on her side because she's not even like name calling or anything. Like, she's completely professional in this interview where she's talking about how she found out when the rest of the world did that she's not coming back as that character, and she had turned down other roles and they didn't even give her a phone call. And
that's so fucked.
She harbors like nothing towards Bryce Dallas Howard or anything like that. It's totally the studio heads that she's against, but she never says anything bad about anyone. She just talks about the decision. And like, even if you like Bryce Dallas Howard better, you can't help but be on her side because she's completely professional in the way she talks about it in this interview.
More professional than I would have been.
And you just
fuck that.
Feel so bad for her because she's been the villain this whole time, and then they recast to a bigger name.
Fuck that.
For the final movie. And yeah, she completely got fucked. And she, like I said, had turned down I don't remember the details, but she talks about, I think in that interview, other roles that she had turned down because she knew this was coming up. She knew that she was going to be in this movie, and then she wasn't.
The production schedule for these movies sounds like a nightmare because they were releasing them like annually.
Yep.
And
which means you never stop filming.
yeah, like had to have been grueling for the actors. It definitely was not grueling for the writers because nothing was written down on the page. It's just very, very bare bones.
It wasn't grueling for Stephanie Meyer either. Trust me.
Page one, pasty white person stares at pasty white person. Page 2, I don't deserve you. Page 3, oh, I don't want you to resist me. Page 4, you get where I'm going. The other actor I liked in this, who is, like we talked about, being a much more interesting, is another Peter Fasinelli, who is Carlisle.
Carlisle, yeah.
I like his character. I liked his performance. He's so much cooler as a character than any of the actual protagonists, and almost makes me more mad than if they did have cool side characters, because nothing pisses me off more than when I'm just like, can we just shift perspective to the side character because they actually are cool and interesting.
I just realized Victoria's a redhead. She's totally Jessie. James, I think, would be cool as a villain if we just spent more time with him and had a reason to be afraid of him.
Which one's James?
The one that chases her down to her ballet studio.
Is this the... Oh, God, this guy... I hate his character design.
Sabretooth, basically.
His character design is just... He's supposed to be, like, intimidating, but he just looks stupid. I could not give less of a shit.
He looks like a guy that lives out of a van following heavy metal bands.
He looks like he'd be, like, the supporting character that, like, Raylan Givens goes to talk to in, like, an episode of Justified. It doesn't look like he'd be, like, a fucking major villain in Twilight. It's idiotic. I don't know.
Like, I think he's fine as a villain in that final scene in the ballet studio, but I don't have a reason to care because we spend more time with Victoria than we spend with James. Like
it's and then, like, his motivation is just that he's a psychopath and he likes tracking people. That's it.
Yep.
There's,
like I said, he's basically Sabretooth. He's got all Sabretooth's abilities and he's sadistic like Sabretooth, but that's it.
How do you make a 2-hour movie where not a single character has a motivation?
Yeah.
It's the only character who has any motivation is Bella's dad, and they don't even pay off his fucking storyline because they don't go back to him at all until dude, fuck that whole.
Is it possible that they made the mistake of paying him before he was done filming, so Billy Burke just left?
He just when he walks out of the room, he just walked off the fucking set.
He just walked right out to his car.
I'm out. I'm fucking driving angry, man.
I gotta go try to kill Nick Cage's baby. Nick Cage's grandbaby. He killed him while he was fucking. Yeah. Jeez. So, now if I have to say one nice thing about this movie,
I will end this podcast right fucking now.
If I have to say one nice thing about this movie, in that fucking ridiculous fight Edward has with James, where they're just breathing at each other real hard for most of it, the practical effects of tearing up the studio was actually really well done.
The practical effects of that are really well done. Unfortunately, the special effects of them running up trees is so laughable. I can't take anything else that happens seriously in that movie. It looks...
They did the Spider-Man swing shot with her on his back.
Oh, also, they have this special effect, right? When they're trying
what
to
special effect? When
they try to present any of the vampire characters moving in, like, superhuman fast motion. When they blur them, they look like they're making a 3D model of an Animorphs cover of a book. If you've ever seen an Animorphs cover where they have, like, the individual frames of them converting into an animal, that's what it made me think of, because it's so fucking embarrassingly bad.
What'd you think of the baseball game?
I wanted to die. I wanted to be hit by the baseball bat.
Dude, when that song started, I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that song, and I forgot about this scene.
That is one thing I do love about this movie, is this movie's soundtrack is such a snapshot of, like, the year 2007, and I was in high school in 2007. So I think it's Muse that is the artist for that song. and they have like Paramore in the ending credits, and like it brought me back to 2007, and I'm very nostalgic for the music of that time because I was in high school around that time, and I enjoyed the nostalgia of that. But
I laughed every time a song came on because I associate, even when they come on the radio, I laugh because I associate them with this movie.
Right, yeah, there's just fun
There's
forever,
just
dude.
no escaping it, and I like Paramore, so it makes me sad. But
Right. At least the Paramore song is in like the credits.
Yeah.
I think instead of like the fucking the song in the baseball scene is Forever Damned.
Is it Supermassive? What is it?
It's I think it's Supermassive by Muse.
Yeah.
And that song, you can't come back from that.
No, every time it starts, I'm like, oh right, well they're like walking but gliding across the ground, and it's supposed to look really cool. And
They
you're just
look
laughing.
like they're riding a fucking airport elevator system across the woods.
Yeah,
man.
the people mover at the airport.
It looks so bad.
It's so bad.
Don't, dude. Okay. We're getting real here. Okay, you're
Yes.
editing the movie.
Yeah.
Just get rid of the scenes when it looks that embarrassing.
Yep.
I don't need the fucking A to B logistics of the fucking side characters in Twilight getting from point A to point B. Just
But
let them arrive at the fucking destination without using the fucking people mover thing at the airport. For the love of God. Why are we double, triple, and quadrupling down on this fucking scene of people running up the sides of trees?
Because they were real proud of that effect.
It looks like they're scratching at the trees when they're like running. It's so bad.
Because they're scratching at a green screen. You know they are.
Oh my God. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
Iron Man. This is the same year Iron Man came out.
Oh my God, dude.
Let's see. Editing by Nancy Richardson. Who are you?
This was 9 years after. Wait, what year was this? 2008? 2008?
Yep.
This was 9 years after the first fucking Matrix movie. This is a decade after Matrix, man.
I'm
the
telling
Matrix
you.
has better special effects than this shit.
I'm telling you. GoBots to Harry Potter's Transformers.
I think you disrespect the GoBots, man. At least the fucking GoBots have some fucking character motivations, dude.
GoBots. Okay, so this is the same editor from the Divergent series. That makes sense.
Oh, I fucking forgot Divergent existed. Fuck.
Oh, buddy.
Oh God. What was it? What was it about this time and the young adult series, man? Like
it has to be Harry Potter. I'm telling you.
It is excruciating. Now
everyone is scrambling.
This makes me now. Granted, J.K. Rowling is a piece of shit, and I don't like Harry Potter as much as a lot of people do. But at least Harry Potter has some fucking characterization and concepts.
Oh, they're at least a movie.
They're at least a movie, and they're at least a book.
Yeah.
These things are just stereotypes and archetypes without even bothering to like present why you should give a shit about any of these people.
Every high school kid is the stereotypical high school kid, right? Like that's what everyone thinks of when they think of a high school kid. Like there's nothing interesting about any of them. So this is the same editor that did Lords of Dogtown, 13. That makes sense.
As both of those were by the same director. So.
Yeah, step up.
Here's the thing, Ron. So if I come from a background of not directing action, maybe I should lean on getting people who have. No, I'm gonna get my same person who also has no fucking experience.
What is this movie?
Just get people who. Now, granted, it might not have made a difference because as you and I found out in M. Night's The Last Airbender, they had like the cinematographer of The Lord of the Rings and the editing person from fucking Terminator 2, and it was still dog shit. But at least try to get some people who are qualified.
Oh my God. Okay, so apparently there's a movie called Red Riding Hood.
Okay.
Amanda Seyfried, Gary Oldman, Billy Burke. Not only same editor as Twilight, same director as Twilight, but the poster literally says from the director of Twilight. They're advertising it like it's a plus.
Like it's a selling point. She has.
You should be paying her to leave her name off the poster.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh my God, what is this?
I've never.
This came out in 2011. I've never heard of this. Gary Oldman, Billy Burke, Amanda Seyfried, legit actors.
Mm-hmm. A huge part of this I forgot to bitch about. This movie's narration makes me want to die.
Oh, dude.
They have so many scenes that I'm pretty sure they just direct copied pages from the book.
Yeah.
To be her narration.
They don't even line up with what's happening on screen.
They don't line up with what's happening. Most of the time it's just garbage. Most of the time it alludes to shit that probably happened in the book but didn't happen in the fucking movie, like her having a hard time at school.
And it's all set to that piano riff every time.
The music behind it is cringy as fuck. Her narration delivery is awful. It reminded me so much of the narration in The Last Airbender. This movie has so much DNA with The Last Airbender. It is actually hilarious.
I like that movie.
The narration, dude. When you have a visual storytelling medium like a movie, you don't have to directly copy the fucking narration, and it's also not even consistent because, like, they will go like 45 minutes of the movie without having narration, and then it's just back randomly, and then they'll go another hour without narration, then it's back again randomly, and it's just there's no internal consistency with the shit.
Do you think they were trying to do what that David Lynch Dune movie did, where they're trying to capture the characters' inner monologues? But narration?
I think it's just fan service. I think they literally just did it because they know people from the fucking book reader audience
will recognize it.
They're gonna recognize it, and it's gonna activate their fucking like happy neurons in their brain because it's from the book they like. And I think that's literally the only reason. Because they didn't bother to have any other character motivations. Why would they bother to have like internal narration to add further characterization to characters that don't have any motivations as it is on the page? I don't know.
If they were to remake this movie gender flipping the characters, would you be in?
Well, I guess I'm in by default because Chris is gonna pick it for Future Friends of Family Month.
Bo Swanson and I think what was it?
Bo Swanson.
What was it? Edna Cullen, I think.
I've intentionally deleted it from my brain. This fucking movie. Now, granted, it sounded like I was. Okay, the thing when I was watching it, I didn't really get actively angry when watching it. I mostly just bored.
Yeah. Because
constantly there is some other character or something else that could be happening that I want to like grab the director by the neck and be like, just move the camera over there. Let me follow Carlisle for a day, because that is a much more interesting story than anything that is with fucking Bella.
The vampire doctor that is saving his patients by turning them.
So much more cool. It's like a period piece in like World War I era. It's so much cooler. But no, it is a 10-second fucking flashback just so we can show Edward getting fucking bitten and nothing else.
And like they even use it. So like one of the things, like when Alice. When she has the broken leg and there's the blood and she freaks out and hollers at Carlisle, it's not just her injury. It's Carlisle is a doctor. He's around human blood day in and day out. And he is not completely immune to the craving for it, but his level of control is he's pretty much mastered it because he's a fucking doctor and has been for how long now? Who knows? And she gets exposed to Bella's blood and it's just like, oh God, blood, Carlisle, and then Carlisle like runs over. But that is one of the few times they use an interesting point about a character. Like, yeah, he's a doctor, but also Alice is struggling to not lose control when she smells the blood. And Carlisle is immune to it almost at this point.
It's just really frustrating because like the stories behind
it's
Carlisle
frustrating because there is something there. We're just never going to tap into it.
The problem is Carlisle is such a more interesting character. He makes for such a more interesting concept for a novel series. The problem and reason like behind the frustration that we have
remake the first book following Carlisle. God damn
exactly.
it.
You've already done it 3 fucking times. What's one more? The problem is we can't focus on that character because we have to shift gears to make it around a 17-year-old who is interested in another 17-year-old. It has to be built around the romance aspect of it. And that can make for like there are plenty of good examples of romantic films working out. Hell, fucking Let the Right One In is a much more like romantic movie about fucking vampires than this is. All the stuff with like Interview with a Vampire is more interesting than anything in here. It is the bare bones fucking lowest common denominator bullshit that they are just making for the masses to make money. And I can't fault them for that because it fucking worked. They made billions of dollars. It's just frustrating when there are cool concepts at play that we could be following, we just don't. And it's just like, well, fuck.
Yeah, and I can't imagine what those books are like. Because like I said, I read The Host, and her writing style is, and then this character did this, and then went over here and did this.
It's awful.
And,
I mean, hell,
every line of dialogue ends with she said, he said, she said, he said, she said. Like,
it's really hard to listen to and I think we hear a lot of it in these narration bits in the movie, and the only thing that makes it even more annoying when it's just like cut and dry types of writing style that she's doing, but it's just repetitive and there's like forced gravitas to it where there's a lot of like waxing poetically in her reactions to Edward and shit instead of I don't know. It's supposed to be romantic and like I said, nothing. It is.
It's real smuggler energy. Remember that in South Park, the smuggler? Yeah. It's real smuggler energy, the dialogue and everything.
The extent to which it is unromantic is impressive for the first hour and a half of the movie.
Like, I understand the desire to make Edward talk like he's from a different century. He is still going to school perpetually. He should have dropped that decades ago. Right? If he's I even down to you're even fucking that up.
Yeah.
If you're going to school sounding like you're 100 years old, I don't there's I don't know. What I want to know, when are werewolves going to come back into vogue? Because vampires have gone in and out. We've had a few cycles of vampires, but we don't talk a lot about werewolves anymore, and I don't understand why. They're my favorite creature. My favorite.
Have we had dog soldiers on yet? We need to have dog soldiers on the podcast.
We need to have dog soldiers on. We haven't had American Werewolf in London yet.
How have you not picked that? I thought you adored that movie. Isn't it like one of your favorites ever?
Yep, it sure is.
Why haven't you picked it yet, man? We're almost episode 100.
Because for some reason, when we do this podcast, I also try to pick stuff that maybe not as many people would have sought out, and that is a legendary movie.
That makes sense.
But it is shameful that we're at almost 100 and we haven't talked about.
Oh yeah,
that movie.
I'm just giving you shit because there's a bunch that I should have had on by now too that I just haven't.
Yeah.
So.
Did you?
Like the all-time classic, Shark Boy and Lava Girl. There will be. Dude, someone's gonna pick that for Friends and Family Month now.
Well, do you remember the memes that was like, "When's the last time you checked in with Lava Girl"? Have you seen any of those memes?
I might have. I can't remember.
It's one of those. Be careful who you make fun of in high school, because she turned out like what's the character in Harry Potter? Neville. That's like super fucking hot now that everyone made fun of back when those movies were going.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she grew up, dude. She grew up.
Also, I just found a random image from the red carpet event for this in 2008. What was Jeffrey Dean Morgan doing at the Twilight premiere? There's pictures of Jeffrey Dean Morgan at the Twilight premiere.
Can I get Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the Van Helsing character, but he's this character from Rampage?
Can we have a Blade movie where he's hunting down all the vampires in the first Twilight? Because that's the movie I want to see. If the first Mahershala Ali movie for Blade is just him relentlessly hunting down Edward Cullen, it'll be my favorite movie of all time.
Okay, so I asked Chris this and she didn't know. Is the name Cullen a play on word like culling the herd? Is that a play on words? Is that what that's supposed to be?
You're giving the writer a lot of credit for knowing what that is.
Writer, listen to you, writer.
You're giving them a lot of credit. I seriously doubt that.
Okay, like look. We're coming up on time here, and I want to say, whatever your feelings on the books or the movies, and whatever your feelings on what we are saying about them, end of the day, the movies are poorly written, poorly directed, poorly edited, poorly shot. Like, my God, how many times do we have to pan up to the trees and spin around? Like,
we forgot to talk about that first scene when he makes her say the word vampire or whatever.
My God. When
I about vomited, dude. They spin around them so fast. I felt like I was on one of those like fucking rides that killed people in that documentary you're talking about, dude. Holy shit.
This is true. When we were coming home in that scene, when they just started walking away from school into the woods and no adult saw them, because I know I couldn't get out to my fucking parking lot without one of the teachers or principals seeing me. But when they are walking out that way, Chris laughed because she knew what was coming.
There are so many moments in this movie.
And she likes this movie.
Okay. Here's a question. Does Chris think Twilight is so bad that it's good, or does Chris genuinely like Twilight despite its flaws? Because I'm curious.
I think she genuinely likes it despite its flaws, but she is aware of its flaws.
Okay. She's also applying a lot of like band-aids to the movies because she's read the books, which
she's read and likes the books, yeah. And she says the books are a lot more interesting and a lot better done.
I believe it.
I don't.
But
I read The Host. I don't believe it at all.
It's like that's fair. I haven't read anything she's done, but I have heard this narration, which is just absolutely next level. Watch out, Stephen King! Like holy shit.
But like,
I also like I like the scene where Edward is playing piano, and it looks like they're in an Evanescence music video.
I know.
For no reason.
What the fuck
is that?
Their clothes changed. Like what happened?
The direction is embarrassing.
And then there's those weird
laughable.
like goth moments, like daydreams that she has. So, like, where I was going with that is, like, at the end of the day, if you like Twilight, great. More power to you. But there is no denying that this is just hands down a bad movie.
It's indefensible. And when there are
and you can like
scenes,
it. I like plenty of terrible movies. I've had them on this show.
When there's just so many scenes that just actively make you laugh when it was not intentional, like, that's saying a lot.
Every time it makes you laugh, it's unintentional.
Yeah. Man.
And Chris clued me in on something that I never got the other times I watched it this time.
What was that?
Evidently, throughout the entire movie and in the entire series, they are trying to get the message across to you that she just doesn't fit in with humans and fits in better with vampires and would be better off being a vampire. I didn't get that at all. I just got she was just an idiot from Washington.
Yeah, she doesn't fit in with fucking anybody because she's the most awkward person in the history of mankind.
That is apparently how they're trying to get that across. Is that she's awkward in the way she interacts with the other students
but then she's awkward with the fucking vampires. She's awkward with everybody because she has no charisma.
And that's why they do the same effect to her to make her as pale as them, even though she's alive.
Oh my god, fuck that shit. That's so stupid. That is the type of like we're trying to have like visual symbolism. Motherfucker, you don't even have characters. Get this fucking visual symbolism out of here, dude.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is insane.
In the membrane.
It's also crazy that I made it 16 long years. It's been 16 long years that I fucking dodged Twilight, and now that time is over, and now I have to watch them yearly. So I can't wait to watch the next one next year. It's gonna be great. It'll be fucking great.
Oh my god, man.
Just scrolling through the IMDb photos and losing years off of my life until I remember something that made me laugh, and then I regain those years, and I'm fucking immortal like Edward Cullen, dude. Because just think back how much I fucking laughed at that fucking Evanescence music video with the fucking piano. It's so stupid. I love it. I genuinely love some of the stupid ass scenes in this movie. I gotta watch that riff tracks, man. I need that in my life. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, bad movie, bad. Don't watch.
The bad movie, great. What the fuck are you talking about?
Bad movie, bad. So when it's on in the background, I tend to laugh at it more. But Chris wouldn't even let me play the stupid game on my phone while it was going.
Oh, she Clockwork Oranged your ass because for Friends of Family Month.
At attention next to her, like I had to sit next to the teacher in class or something.
I got to give Chris a high five for that because that's commendable right there.
It just made me angry because I sat down and watched it for the first time in a long time and came to the conclusion for the first time that there are cool things here and there that we're never going to touch on or expand upon. Like
that makes it even worse than if it was just all bad. It has untapped potential. It makes it more frustrating than if it was just shit.
Dude,
like
in the future, Victoria is sending vampires their way to kill Bella.
Wait, what?
That is her goal. Laurent comes back in the second one because Victoria wants Laurent to kill Bella to get to Edward. That's what these movies and books are about. She starts tormenting. That's what Victoria does. She is the ongoing villain in every book. And like Laurent, he warned them against in this one. But I guess Victoria's more powerful or something. So
Who the fuck knows?
We're bringing in that old vampire trope all of a sudden. I don't know.
Did they explain? Wait, why do some of them not have X-Men powers?
They all do.
They all do. What is like Carlisle's X-Men power then?
I don't know.
So they all have X-Men power. This is so fucking stupid, dude. Like, what are they gonna have X-Men power?
I don't know what Esme's is. I don't know what Carlisle's is. I don't know what Victoria's is. We don't talk about Laurent. We just talk about James.
When I was watching this movie, so if I had learned at some point, because like, I've talked about like some side shit that I've learned through osmosis from society, from these fucking books and movies. When he was talking about how like I can hear people's thoughts and this lady can see the fucking future, I was like, record scratch. What?
Yep.
Why y'all got fucking X-Men powers, man? I can't.
I think she said that Emmett's superpower is that he's
riding in the back of trucks without sitting down.
He's super strong even by vampire standards. He's Colossus, basically. I'm trying to remember what she said Rosalie was, other than just being a bitch at times.
That's a pretty great superpower.
I'm trying to remember. I know Jasper is an empath and he can control your emotions. He can make you happy or make you sad.
Is it not just enough for them to be fucking vampires?
Being a vampire is a superpower. You're already supernaturally powerful.
It's like she wanted to make 7 different books at once and then just like, well, cramming it all in. I'm going to end up remaking this 4 more times, so it's okay. I'll fix it in post.
Somehow being a vampire wasn't enough, and we had to bring the fucking X-Men into it.
Yeah, it's dumb.
By the way, X-Men 97 every Wednesday.
X-Men 97 is going to be on this show once it's done.
Right after episode 10 drops,
right
baby.
Right after that finale airs, like we're talking about it because I am loving that show. So
we should record that night, like that Wednesday night.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I want to talk about that show so bad.
Me too.
It's so good.
Like, unfortunately, we got to talk about X-Men 2008.
The Go Bots.
Ron, is there anything else about the lovely Twilight?
No.
Yeah, I think I've kind of said my piece. The problem is there are so many moments that I laughed my ass off and I had a great time. Unfortunately, in between those like laugh out loud, unintentionally hilarious moments,
you just sit there like Jasper in pain.
It is excruciating watching Kristen Stewart develop speech impediments, and also just like she's blinking so much. Ron, someone just like, do you need some clear eyes? Do you need clear eyes? Because you won't stop blinking. I don't understand why. Please.
Oh my God. I would so rather walk into that house full of vampires than sit at that lunch table with her high school friends.
Some of her high school friends are just the fucking worst,
I would slit my wrist and walk into that house full of vampires before I'd sit at that table with her high school friends. Oh, Jesus.
Just like...
Well, I have a question. Would you take the dark gift?
What's like immortality?
If a vampire offered you their blood, would you drink it?
It depends on... So... If we're just talking Twilight rules, fuck yeah, because A, you get to be an X-Man.
There's no downside.
You get a magical fucking superpower for no reason.
Everyone acts like it's the worst thing that could happen to you. It's the coolest thing that could happen to you ever.
Oh man, I have a superpower and I can't die, and I'm shimmery in the fucking sunlight like a god, and yeah, it fucking sucks. You don't want this at all. Yeah.
To make it even more like X-Men, when Wolverine leaves the X-Men and goes hangs out in Canada for a while. When Edward wasn't at school, he went and hung out in Alaska for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he left the family and everything. Apparently that's where he went. By the way,
Sigh.
30 Days of Night we have to have on this show.
I love 30 Days. What an amazing concept for a story.
Right?
I love 30 Days of Night so much. It's like one of the most clever fucking concepts for any story ever. I adore it. I need to read the comic. I never actually read the comic. I've seen the movie.
I don't think I knew it was a comic.
Yep, it was a comic from, I think, like the early aughts. I think it took a few years for it to get adapted, but yeah, it's got some really fucking cool art too.
Okay, what about if we're talking like Anne Rice or Bram Stoker rules? Would you take the Dark Gift?
So basically, like, the only downside is the light, you die instantly to sunlight. Is that what we're referring to?
In Bram Stoker, he could go in sunlight, but he was significantly weaker, almost sickly, but he could do it.
Pretty much, I am taking vampirism every single time, no matter what. Even if I died instantly to sunlight, I don't fucking go outside anyway, so that doesn't really change much for me.
Okay, hang on. Before I give my answer to this, something you said jarred this. At some point in the movie, I turned to Chris. I think it's when Anna Kendrick was sunning herself under the cloud bank.
Oh man, it's 75 degrees out. What a fucking heat wave. Fuck y'all, man.
Dude, I at some point I turned to my wife and I was like, I don't care how cloudy it is. There's going to be some level of like sparkly that happens. That sunlight is hitting the ground. Sunlight is hitting them, right? Like, I don't care how cloudy it is, unless it is nighttime. Sunlight is making its way to the ground, and they're going to shimmer no matter where the fuck they are.
Are you bringing science to a Stephanie Meyer fight? That is a losing battle, man.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, and Anne Rice vampirism is like, it's cool, and all the characters acknowledge that it's cool and great, but also they have to wrestle with their loss of humanity, and it's like you can only kill so many times before you hate yourself for what you're doing, kind of thing. And then you just kind of live as an immortal, hating yourself every night because they have to feed every night. It's not like in other stuff where you can go a few days. Like they're literally murdering someone every single night.
So part of the problem with like vampiric like quandaries like that too is it depends on the time period. If you're actually having to go around killing people, that's one thing. But like in modern tellings of it, like True Blood and shit, where they have they either have like an artificial replacement for drinking blood, or you literally, just like take money from, like a blood bank and drink that, where you're not actively killing people. If you're not actively killing people, there are no fucking downsides to it.
In Kolchak the Night Stalker, he is going around to hospitals and stealing blood bags, like you were talking about.
That happens. I forget what movie it was. There's like another vampire story TV show or movie I watched a few years ago where it was also like somebody was a vampire and they had like a buddy who was at like a morgue and they were getting, like blood from dead people. They were like living on that. And it's just like, there's so many, if it's in a modern setting, there is no fucking downside, especially when these idiots have fucking superpowers and they're rich as fuck. And like, they're almost all of them are handsome. And it's just like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? You have no curse.
And you have some level of mesmerism. There is no way that over the years you don't just gather this little following of like quislings that are just willing to give you their blood. Like you don't have to kill anyone, and they're willingly giving it to you, so you're not hurting anyone. Like, yeah, there's so many ways around it, but yeah, I take the Dark Gift every time. I think
every time. There's no contest. The only one that would suck is like being a werewolf and not having control of it.
Yeah,
and automatically turning at certain instances where it's like not convenient.
That is. Like, there I was on the toilet.
There I was on vacation.
Again.
There I was on vacation in Hawaii. I just slaughtered the entire island.
The daddy-daughter dance. Oh, my God. It was a bloodbath. No, like, if I'm an underworld werewolf, every fucking time. And I would, oh, my God, that's the dream, is the underworld werewolf.
Yeah, underworld werewolf is pretty cool.
Underworld werewolf. I combined Underworld and Werewolf.
Underwerewolf.
Underwerewolf. Okay, you and I, get your ass over to my house right now. We're writing this movie.
We're writing that. Can we tie it into Captain Underpants, where he's like the antagonist, and then we have a fucking story, dude?
Underwerewolf.
No matter under werewolves x Captain Underpants.
Under the full moon every time. Tidy whities.
Oh,
tail poking out the back.
Oh man.
Oh Jesus Christ.
All right, we're at the delusional stage, so we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Well,
Ron,
ain't nothing to talk about. This movie's so fucking hollow.
Are you all done with your Twilight talking points? I think I'm done. I think I can rest now.
I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any talking points.
If you would like to follow the show more,
and why wouldn't you?
And why wouldn't you indeed? You can follow your personal favorite brand of heroin on Twitter at SPR Filmcast for show updates.
Like the masochistic lion you are.
Oh my god, what the fuck is what was the it sounds like a stupid lamb or whatever the stupid shit she's I can't. I respect the amount of time people spent more time contributing to the quote page and on the IMDb page than the people did with the script of the movie. There is more work and attention to detail on that page than the fucking actual script that these poor fucking actors were given. I feel so bad for them.
Oh,
holy the fuck.
Lord. What was?
I also want what we need to have happen now, Ron. They need to make a riff tracks, but it's Pattinson and Kristen Stewart talking about it, because I would love to hear their horror stories from making this fucking piece of shit. That'd be great.
What movie is it that like Ben Affleck is drunk and just tearing into it? It's like it's legendary. I think it was Ben Affleck. It was in the special features back when they made
it is Con Air. He is on the commentary. He's basically like talking shit about Michael Bay. He's like so the first day I show up to film the movie and I go to Michael. I'm just like, wouldn't it make more sense to teach drilling to astronauts than the other way around? And then he just told me, shut the fuck up, Ben. It's fantastic. If anyone hasn't heard that, you have to YouTube Ben Affleck commentary Con Air, and it's gold. It's gold.
Because that was back when like they were forced to do it. They were like contractually obligated to do the thing, but nobody was scripting them back then. So
this is a hangout party. You just say whatever the fuck you want.
and you're trying to fill time until the movie ends. So people would literally do those things drunk. It's not just that movie. There's so many. Where people just got drunk to do those, because what else were they going to do? And they keep the drinks coming, like they're serving the drinks to them as they're doing it. And they would fucking put it on the DVDs.
And by the hour mark, it is madness because they're shit faced.
Yeah.
And just unhinged.
Let's see. Matriculate. That's it. That's the word we need to start using. If you would like to matriculate the podcast, like, share, and subscribe, matriculate the podcast. That'd be great. We matriculate a lot. Who the fuck?
Who do you think you are, Cole Ross?
Yeah. What was word a day calendar? Yeah. We matriculate a lot.
We matriculate. Shut the fuck up, Edward.
I matriculate every night, buddy.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
If you found the video,
go to the bathroom, lock the door. Just matriculate all night.
If you found the video on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe.
It's my own personal brand of heroin. Matriculating.
Jesus Christ, we got to end this podcast. Ratings or reviews on whichever platform you found us always helps out. Share us out to your friends. That's always a huge help. And Jeff, Ron, where can people find you?
Ending the podcast. That's peaceful. Doing the podcast is harder.
God, quit trying to fucking wax poetic about fucking eternity with your stupid fucking superpowered mutants. Ugh.
Oh my
gross.
God.
Ron, where can people find you when you're not talking about your favorite brand of heroin?
You can find me if you want. Over at Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Ronsense TV. Yeah, probably not my finest hour of this podcast because what the fuck is happening?
I think it's been really fun. Because who doesn't love hearing
You said that. You said that with all the emotion Kristen Stewart conveyed during Twilight.
I just want you to know, as I was saying it, I was blinking about 12 times a second, and yeah, just like making my mouth do weird stuff because I have to fill time. We gotta make this movie 2 hours long, guys. Kristen, start doing weird shit with your mouth and blink a few more times, and then we'll make it.
Please don't ever say do weird shit with your mouth ever again. I never need to hear that.
I love watching you do weird shit with your mouth, Ron. It's kind of fascinating.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
All right, hey, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Before we do, though, I would just like to address one listener directly.
Okay.
What the fuck, Bobby? We never talked about his comment at the top of the show. We were. It just says we were. I don't know what that means. I don't know who that's addressed to. I don't even know if he meant to send that to us. Like, we were what, buddy? I sent that to Jeff. I was just like, what the fuck does this mean? I don't know what we said. Oh, we were. Were we? Were
sure.
we?
Yes. Maybe.
That's what I'm replying right now.
Maybe.
Were we?
We have our full Friends of Family Month scheduling now that we can announce. That way people want to watch ahead, they can follow along with everything for the month. So as we had already announced, the next week's selection will be courtesy of Aurora, and we will be covering Tangled. So we actually get a good movie. I'm excited about that.
Not one of my favorites, but I like it. I owe it a lot, so I'm gonna be excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I like Tangled a lot. After that, we have Bobby's selection of Kung Fu Hustle, and then we'll be, which I have not seen. I actually have not seen Kung Fu Hustle. I've also not seen our final movie for the month. Have you seen Kung Fu Hustle, by the way? I'm not sure if that was one you'd seen.
I mean, I want to say yes. It's been a while though. Let me see. I believe this is a movie that I have seen most of.
Okay, I have not seen it at all.
So you remember me telling you some time ago that my dad would watch multiple movies at once on cable, switching back and forth every time a commercial started? I'm pretty sure that is how I've seen Kung Fu Hustle.
Gotcha. I don't think I've seen any of it at all.
That's just as nightmarish as it sounds. It was heinous. Like, I couldn't.
And I have also not seen our final movie of the month, which is courtesy of Soapy, and that is Battlefield Earth. Which, by all accounts, I'm going to want to tear my eyeballs out.
I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie, man.
I've seen...
How have you not
I've seen bits and pieces from, like, of clips from people making fun of Battlefield Earth. I have never sat down to actually watch Battlefield Earth, though.
How have you not seen the magic that is Battlefield Earth? Oh, sweet Mary and Joseph.
We'll also be relaying the reasoning behind the selections from our friends and family who had picked the movies as well. We'll be doing that within the episode. I think you gave Chris's Twilight explanation last week, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so we'll do,
which was basically, if I can summarize it real quick, was basically just fuck you.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Just go fuck yourself.
Wasn't it also in retaliation for me not liking Moulin Rouge?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait
for Battlefield Earth.
Oh,
you're excited for?
I cannot wait for Battlefield Earth. I'm so excited.
We got a fucking.
You said that was Soapy?
That was Soapy. We also forgot to talk about the fucking attempted coup. Our friends and family tried to fucking coerce each other into fucking just picking Twilight every week.
Yeah.
Which is an insurrection next to maybe greater than January 6th. I'm not sure. They're pretty close. It's a pretty great work of treason against our country. I think it's pretty fucking diabolical. I might say.
Fuck is going on IMDb? I'm on Battlefield Earth and I scroll down. You know the more like this page? The more like this section of the page? Battlefield Earth. Pledge This starring Paris Hilton. And The Hottie and the Naughty starring Paris
What?
Hilton. And then Alone in the
Hello?
Dark and House of the Dead.
What the fuck?
No, I am screenshotting this, and I think I am tweeting this. This is
Okay.
the Battlefield Earth IMDb. More like this. This is their suggestion. This, Jeff, is like Battlefield Earth. Like, what?
No idea.
I can only assume it's going off of the star rating. Because the star ratings are similar.
No clue.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I am very confused. Anyways,
No idea.
Is Alone in the Dark what I think it is? Is that Christian Slater?
Yeah, that was like the remake, or not the remake. That was like the adaptation of the game, right? With him in it.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't know. I've only ever watched the movie. I didn't know it was a game.
Was that Uwe Boll? Did he do Alone in the Dark? I haven't seen
I'm
it.
sorry. What the fuck did you just say to me? Yes, it is.
Yeah, Uwe Boll.
Yeah, I liked this movie.
He did like 20,000 video game adaptations that were all just tax write-offs, basically.
Yeah, it's Tara Reid, Christian Slater, Steven Dorff. I ran out. I thought there was more. I guess I'm thinking of something else also. But yeah, no, I didn't know it was a game.
Yep. It was a Uwe Boll special. He did like Perfect Dark and like all of those kind of like sub-tier random games that were like kind of famous but not really famous.
Perfect
like that.
Dark. Did you just say Perfect Dark?
Didn't he do a Perfect Dark movie?
There's a Perfect Dark movie, and I missed it.
I'm pretty sure he did a Perfect Dark movie.
Oh, dude, he did Blood Rain. I love Blood Rain.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking of. There was a Perfect Dark thing in 2000. I think it might be like an animated movie. I don't know. I don't
really.
Know. I thought they made an adaptation of Perfect Dark, but I might be getting one of the other 500 video game adaptations that Uwe Boll did mixed up with that. I don't know.
Huh. Let me see. I did not know this. I need to find this. I love Perfect Dark.
Maybe it wasn't Perfect Dark. Maybe it was Blood Rain I was thinking of. Let me pull up his. He did House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark. Oh, maybe it was Blood Rain. In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale or whatever was one of his. He did Blood Rain 2. He did a Far Cry movie with the dude from fucking Inglourious Bastards. Did you know that?
Nope.
Did you know there's a Far Cry movie with fucking Stiglitz? Yeah, it's crazy. He did so many of these.
Interesting. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh god, the third Blood Rain movie was called Blood Rain: The Third Reich.
Goddamn right. She's a vampire killing Nazis, man. That's what all of them are.
There's another In the Name of the King? What the fuck?
Well, that I did not know. That's the Jason Statham, Jonathan Rhys Davies one, right?
Yeah. Uwe Boll is interesting. Did you know Uwe Boll at one point got mad at a critic shit-talking his movie, so he challenged him to an MMA fight directly?
Really?
Uwe Boll is a fucking psychopath.
I love it.
Insane.
Yeah. There was a Duck Feed podcast where they were making fun of the fact that Will.i.am was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. And I don't know if you recall, he has one of the coolest deaths I've seen in a movie in that. I don't know why they're making fun of the fact that he was in that, because that scene still haunts me to this day.
I do not remember.
He teleports, but when he does, like, you see him do it layer by layer. Like, first the skin goes away, then the muscles go away.
He gets like Dr. Manhattan and shit.
And then like the skeleton comes back, then the muscles come back, then the skin comes back. And when he teleports, Liev Schreiber reaches in and grabs his spine, and he just forms around Liev Schreiber's hand, and you see him do the snap motion, and he just drops dead.
That's pretty good. I vaguely remember that now.
I have no idea why they were making fun of it, because that is still one of the coolest death scenes I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Anyways, but this is well past Twilight. We're talking about cooler things. We're talking about actual X-Men now. So
yeah. All right.
I am tweeting this photo though.
I am excited. We've got our Friends and Family month locked in. Our Friends and Family did try to have every Twilight movie on for the month, which we vetoed because the whole point of
this
is
they are no longer our friends or family, but we are still having their choices on this month.
Yeah, we vetoed that because I think it would be incredibly boring and stale for us to just talk about the same series back to back to back to back, because we would just be exhausted and it wouldn't be funny anymore because we wouldn't have any energy left to talk about the shit we're talking about, you know. So that is the reasoning behind that. But I'm excited for our lineup. We've got, so again, that was Tangled, Kung Fu Hustle, and Battlefield Earth, which is just an absolute murderer's row.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I did. ? Had to sit through Twilight for 2 hours. That was a majestic experience that I can never never fully describe. But thanks for listening, everybody, and have a good night. I can't resist you, my favorite heroine. Blah 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 blah.